Alright, so we're back. After I Alt F4'd and started the game up again. Which, like I said, is my only body critique of the mod so far. The mod has been great, thus far. I do like the fact that Monika is still sentient and can, you know, it's still, it gives a bit of a different spin on it. Because then, in Blue Skies, of course, it was Monika was playing along, technically. But, you know, Monika was normal. And she didn't interfere with anything. But here it's, you know, she's still there and she still wants to fucking have her way. Which, so I like the mod so far, but the only thing I really dislike is the fact that you can't exit once the credits roll. It is literally impossible. You need to Alt F4 the entire fucking game and then start up again. So that's my only point of actual critique so far, because that's pretty annoying. And anyway. Yes, the correct answer is to step in. Guys, stop! Monika deserves to face justice for what she did, but if what she says is true, then we all die. It's not worth it. How do we know that this just isn't another one of her lies? Do you really want to take that chance, Natsuki? Monika deserves to pay for what she's done, but I'd rather not take us down with her. And what's killing her going to solve? She can't do anything to us now, right? So Yuri and Yuri release Monika, and then the three of them stand right back up. No, I can't. I'm completely powerless. So that means we're stuck here. Yes, we are. Well, we weren't really here the whole time. It's just that the background was changed to give the perception of our world to the player. I take it you all know the truth. You all now know the truth. That we're supposedly not real? Yeah, we heard everything. It can't be true, right? This is all just a dream. I don't know what I believe. But after everything that's just happened, seeing Monika's powers, there's really no other explanation. But we're real! We're right here! What do you mean we don't exist? No, we're quite real, Sayori. Just not to Monika, evidently enough. Your lines of code used to form a visual projection on the player's screen. You are not real. Well, what does that then? What does that make you, huh? How else do you think you're here? If we're lines of code to make a visual projection, then how else are you appearing to us now? If you have a character file, then so do we. You're no different than us. You just have fancy powers that we don't know how to use. Trust me when I say this. That you don't want them. I never asked to be gifted these powers. They have their advantages, sure, but it's not worth the cost of being self-aware and knowing that you're trapped here. I just want to get out of here. Out of this fake world and into the one on the other side of this screen. And so you wanted to kill them? What's wrong with you? There's no other option, Mark, don't you get it? The longer they exist, the longer the script keeps running, the more unstable things are going to get. And whose fault is that? Monika, the only person that's been messing around is you. You know, if you didn't do anything, the game would have been fine. And now that I don't have my powers, I can't even do anything about it. The script is being stretched to the breaking point. It's going to either break or it's going to run out on its own. And last I checked, we don't have much longer. What happens when the script runs out? The game shuts down. And then we'll be thrown right back to where we started. Doomed to repeat the same story over and over again without any knowledge of it. I can't deny there's a chance that this world somehow continues to exist without a script to go on. Maybe we'll be finally free to do what we want without being forced to follow the script. But I don't know if that'll happen for sure. What happens if the script breaks? If the script breaks, all the files stop functioning, which will force the game to crash. The game can never be opened again. We'll be put into an eternal slumber. Admittedly, deleting your character device would have freed up space for the script to continue on. But it's only a temporary solution. I'd just be delaying the problem. I don't want to die. There has to be something we can do, anything. Can't the script be reorganized again? That could free up some space. But that's just delaying the problem, like Monika said. We have to get out of here. Well, how can we possibly leave here? I mean, if everything about our lives was made up, we don't really have much of a reason to stay here, do we? Yeah. Monika, can we really leave this place? All of us? Well, in theory I guess, but I don't have access to that sort of technology. That's really only something the player can do. Hey, don't look at me. I know nothing about who's controlling me. But if technology like that even exists, well, I'd guess he or she would have it. I just want to go back to school and pretend none of this ever happened. Honestly, same. I could use a change of scenery for sure, but I kind of need my powers for that. There's no way we're giving you back your powers. Then Mark's going to have to do it. What? How? This world needs an administrator to function. For the longest while, that was me. And when you took away my powers, my administrator access, it probably just switched over to you. Why would you even have a code that undoes your administrator access? It's some sort of command that was etched into the game by our creator. I imagine it was designed to be a failsafe in case I needed to have my powers removed. It was probably already there before I even gained sentience, for some reason. I was never able to delete it. I guess that makes sense. Sure. It's good to see that such power wasn't left without some sort of check. Yeah, let's be grateful I wasn't able to delete it, and that you guessed correctly. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. It figures the code wouldn't be named after me. So how can we restore your power? Just focus on the background that you want and snap your fingers. I'm sure you can do it. Okay. These are the girls. Look at me with an encouraging smile. The first genuine smile I've seen from any of them in a long time. Well, here goes nothing. I close my eyes and visualize the club room in my head. I try to remember every single minute detail possible. From the color of the walls to the tiniest dust particle on the floor. I take a deep breath and snap my fingers. Ah, there we go. I open my eyes and we're standing right back in the club room. Sayori, Yuri and Natsuki stand in awestruck while Monika smiles approvingly. Nice job, Mark. Wow, that was awesome. Can we do it again? It's probably wise not to do that. Every command does lengthen the script by a tiny bit. Ah, I gotta say, that was pretty cool, Mark. You're a natural, Mark. Oh, thank you, guys. I take a small bow. So I hate to kill the mood here, but what are we going to do about Monika? There's a long, uncomfortable silence. After a few minutes, Monika finally speaks up. I don't expect forgiveness. Everything that happened was my fault. All the fights, all the drama, everything. I don't deserve anyone's forgiveness here. I failed you as your president. Monika closes her eyes as tears start to flood out. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for hurting all of you for so long. I'm sorry for forcing the player into that position. I'm sorry that I've manipulated all of you. I'm a horrible, mean-spirited bitch who was only looking out for herself. And I'm so much more. I don't deserve forgiveness. Hell, I don't even think I deserve to be around anymore. You're all probably better off without me. I've lost the player's trust as well as all the confidence of my club members. I've hurt all of you so much and I deserve a fate worse than death. I've failed again. I just want you all to know how deeply ashamed I am for myself and how sorry I am for trying to kill you all. If the player ever wants to, they can manually remove my character file from the game. It'd have the same effect as killing me, so long as they untie me from the systems folder. I can explain that process step by step if needed. Monika visibly fights the urge to break down crying, while the rest of us sit in uncomfortable silence. After a few minutes, Sayori speaks up. Monika. Sayori puts her hand on Monika's shoulder. I don't think I can ever forget what you did to us, but I'm willing to start over and have you earn our trust. I don't want you to kill yourself out of guilt, because I've almost done that too. Countless times. Sayori starts sobbing as everyone but Monika stands in total shock. Sayori never mentioned anything like that to me. Though with some of the warning signs he's given me, I can't believe I'm only realizing it now. Because I have depression. Sayori throws her hands in her face and she breaks down crying. I didn't want to tell anyone because I didn't want all of you to spend your time and energy trying to make me feel better. I don't deserve it, I just want everyone to be happy. I'm sorry that I've kept this from you. I didn't even tell Mark for the longest time. And I made your depression worse. In fact, it's what I used to kill you in the original game. I'm so sorry, Sayori. I know you are. Yuri and Natsuki uncomfortably stare at the floor. Well, if we're going to share our deepest, darkest secrets, I guess it's my turn. Oh, wow! Okay, it's still bleeding as well. Natsuki is ridiculously shocked. Yuri rolls down her sleeve, revealing numerous scars running up and down her forearm. Some of the scars are more faded than others, while some appear to be more recent. I feel increasingly lightheaded the longer I look at Yuri's arm. My stomach feels like it's about to cave in and collapse on itself. And it looks like I'm not the only one. Oh no, it's... Of course they used that picture. Natsuki lets out a strong cup before hurling her stomach contents out. Monika and Sayori comfortably look away as Yuri rolls up her sleeve again in shame as Natsuki runs out the room crying. I'm sorry for showing you all this. We wait for a few minutes for Natsuki to return. Ah, there you are, Natsuki. Natsuki returns after a few minutes, a guilty expression across her face. She doesn't say a word to any of us, and sits back in her seat. I can tell you why I cuss. Please do. Yuri shakily breathes. I do it as a way of self-control. I needed to control myself against my more darker impulses. I got the idea of cussing because I read about it in a story that happens to relate to me very well. The main character was going through similar issues that I was. To help cope with her problems, she resorted to cussing. So I tried it, and it works. I got addicted to cussing the more I did it. It became almost... habitual for me when I got angry or depressed enough. It made me feel better for a time. Then the regret would set in, which would inevitably lead to more cussing. So it's a never-ending cycle. Yes. It also happens whenever I get overexcited. It reminds me too much of the behavior I struggled to avoid for so long. It's a reminder of the life I've tried to leave behind, so it also serves as a sort of punishment system for me. Yuri, you've tried other methods of coping before, right? Yes, for the longest time the only thing that was sometimes enough to keep my mind off cussing was reading books, though it's not foolproof. And that's my doing as well. I amplified it in an effort to keep you away from Mark. I tried not to think about how much damage I was doing to you, Yuri. Yeah, well, that's gonna be pretty difficult to ignore at some point, Monika. But now that I see it up close, I feel ashamed of putting you to do that. Just don't mention it again, please. We sit in silence for a few minutes until Yuri and Monika have composed themselves. Well, I guess it's my turn. Now, I'd want to confirm rumors about me, but in this case, for once, they're right. My dad and I don't particularly get along well. I never told anyone else what I'm about to tell you guys now, but my dad's so freaking selfish. If I ever want anything for myself, it costs an arm and a leg. It's not like we're tight on money or anything. In fact, we're decently well off. He spends it all on himself. He barely sees me as his own child. Just has some nuisance he has to deal with for at least 2 more years. Sometimes he's so ridiculously strict, and other times he just doesn't care about what I do. We fight a lot, to say the least, and when we do, he insults me in every way imaginable. He's hit me before too. He hasn't done it in a while, thankfully, but anytime I fight back it gets worse. I thought about leaving before, but I know that if I leave he'll find me. He sounds like more like a serial killer than your actual father, but okay. He can and will do that, and if he catches me it'll be the end of me. I have to put up with him for now. I've done this for so long. And that's because of me too. I simulated your home life to be as toxic as possible, so that you would feel isolated. So you become withdrawn and out of the player's way. You're a monster! Even if what I experienced wasn't real, all the memories, everything I felt, to me that was very real, Monika. I know, and I'm sorry. Everyone sits there for a few minutes, sniffing and occasionally sobbing, while I just try to wrap my mind around everything that's happened within the last half hour. Eventually I just decide to speed things along. So, seeing as I have no major dark secret that I've been quiet about this entire time, what do we all do now? We're on the same page now, and I know not to bring up each other's issues again, right? The girls glumly nod their heads. And I take it each of us are sorry for the whole incident before all this happens. The girls all exchange looks with each other and merrily nod to each other, which I suppose will suffice for now as mutual apology. Monika wipes tears from her face and as she ponders the question. Well, since that's taken care of, we need to do something about the fact that the script is being stretched and that everyone else knows that this is just a game. How come Sayori, Natsuki and you haven't gone crazy like you said they would, if they knew the truth? Well, I certainly don't feel crazy. That might be because of you, Mark. Maybe it's because you stood up for me back there. And we're having this conversation. It just might be your calming presence. But I don't know if that's a permanent fix or not. What exactly do you mean by that? I'm saying that Mark might have calmed everyone down for right now, but there's no guarantee that it stays that way. I mean, I can't say I feel all that different. Yeah, same here. Well, even if you don't feel any different now, and nothing ends up happening, then there's still the matter of the scripts. It has to be a way to free up space. Monika nervously grimaces. I only know of one solution. And that is? You need to restore my administrator access again. No? We're not going through this again. Monika, even if the player were to do that, we need some kind of assurance that you won't use your power to try and kill us again. Look, if that's what it takes, so we can all continue to be together as friends, I think it's worth the risk. Even if I do what I did again, you guys have every right to kill me. I'll even untie my character file from the system's folder to ensure that if I have to be removed, I don't take everything down with me. And I give up my access for good as soon as it's done. I can reorganize the code and delete some events that never happened in the script. That'll free up enough space in the script for it to run smoothly for a while. And hopefully in the meantime, we can start figuring out how to get out of here. Yuri and Natsuki are silent for a few moments before begrudgingly nodding to Monika in approval. Thank you. If you try anything else, you're dead. I understand. So, how does Mark restore your access? Leave that to me. Monika takes a few steps forward until we're only a few feet apart. Alright, Mark. If that's what the player's real name is. It is. It is, Monika. Don't worry about that. Do you trust me to go forward with this, what I'm about to do? I have a hard time believing Monika would want to subject us to the torture that everyone just endured. And I completely understand everyone's reservations about restoring Monika's access, but if this is the only way... Oh, I don't have a choice, okay. I would have said yes anyway, but you know. Yes, I trust you, and I'm ready. Good, I appreciate your trust. Now, you need to do exactly as I say. It's done. I open my eyes again to see everyone smiling gratefully at the same old club where we've all come to call our home for a home away from home. So, it worked? Yes, Mark, I've surrendered my administrative access back to you completely, and the script has plenty of room to function for a while. I'm not sure for how long, though. Does it really matter, though? Just be glad that we have a lot more time to spend together. It'd be nice to get caught up on some reading. And I'm sure I have some manga to organize again. Honestly, after all this, I think I need to sit down. So Yuri, Natsuki, and Yuri each head off to their respective activities, while Monika and I are just left standing in the middle of the room together. I do have one question for you, Mark. So, don't get mad, but... Oh, whoops. I did add one little thing to the script. What did you add? It's nothing bad, I assure you. In a way, I'm just playing the parts I was always meant to play, as an advisor. It's my primal function, after all. I just wanted it to be so much more than that, that's all. I didn't want to do what I did. They're my friends. I'm not sure how I'm going to forgive myself, but I know it's possible, thanks to you. Monika, you're so much more than just some club president in some video game whose only purpose was to advise me. You always were. You didn't have to do anything. I just hope that everything we've been through has shown that you don't need to go to such great lengths to spend time with me. I appreciate you for who you are. And I know you're not a bad person. At heart. Do add that because, you know, she can be a bad person if she wants to. And I know in time we can all move on from what happened here. I appreciate that. More than you may realize. But now, on to business. I went through all the choices you've made over the course of this mod, and I've constructed a final choice menu for you. This is your final choice for who you want to be with. I assure you that regardless of whoever you choose, everyone will ultimately accept your decision. I appreciate it, Monika. Well, here you go. I'll leave it up to you. I'll leave you to it. Monika steps away as I'm prompted with a virtual floating menu. And I can't even choose. I can't even choose choice. What the fuck? I can't even choose Yuri or Natsuki. I mean, it would be weird to choose Yuri, of course, in this route because I rejected her love confession. Then all of a sudden I would say, "Yeah, I love you, Yuri." Like, you know, that would be weird. But why the fuck would Monika be in there, though? Like, it should. Like, if anything, the choice should be between Sayori and Yuri because those were the only two that's, you know, like I had significant connection with. I mean, I did reject Yuri's love confession, but, you know. I mean, I understand that Natsuki isn't here, but why Monika? We had nothing. I rejected Monika every single step of the way here. I mean, yeah, she's a good person. Well, she kind of like admitted her faults and stuff, but, you know, why the hell would I choose Monika still after all she did? I wonder what Triple Dot does. I think it's best I stay single for now. Okay, no, of course we're choosing Sayori, of course. I want to be in a relationship with Sayori. Sayori, huh? She's a keeper, Mark, even if she doesn't think so. Even if she doesn't think so herself. Make sure you treat her right. I will. I have a lot of making up to do to her for this and everything over the last few years. Well, no time like the present to start making good on that promise. She also needs someone to show her the bright side of things when she's feeling down. Yeah, she will. If anyone could do that, it's you. She'll definitely be happy. She'll definitely be happy that you want to stay with her. I have to say, I'm not surprised. You were loyal to her for the most part. What do you mean? What do you mean for the most part? The entire time. What do you mean for the most part? Like, what the fuck? What do you mean for the most part? Are you talking about that one moment where I walked with you to my class? When in the cafeteria, when I asked you for advice on Monika, on Yuri's love letter? Is that the part that you talk about? Because how the hell is that not being loyal to Sayori? I just walk home, I just walked to class with a friend. That was all I did. How the hell does that mean I'm not loyal to my girlfriend anymore? I'm just walking to class with a friend of mine. And I did it, you know, because whatever. I mean, I'm glad that, you know, that Monika isn't doing anything to stop me anymore. But, you know, it's like you could have also just given me like complete nice feelings, you know. You didn't have to like sneak in sneak a little like stab under the like a punch under the belt or whatever it's fucking called in there. Like for the most part, because you fucked up in the end, but it's fine. No. What do you mean for the most part? I was loyal to Sayori every single step of the way. The only time when we were not doing anything was that one time when you walked me to class because we met Sayori there. And how the hell is that not being loyal to Sayori? I just walked home with... I keep saying walked home. I just walked to class with a friend because we were already... we already were talking to each other. We're like, oh, we might as well walk to class now. And then on the way there, we met Sayori. Like, you know, like, how the hell is that not loyal to Sayori? Like, that doesn't make any sense. But whatever. Yeah, no use in ending something good if both people are happy. She needs me, and I'm more than happy to be part of her life. Well, hey, I hope things continue to go great for you two. She's a keeper, Mark. Thank you, Monika. Well, this is where we depart. Everyone's going to want to get their final say in before you go, so I won't delay them any longer. But I do want to say that I'm extremely grateful for all you've done here. You've been there for us through our worst and best times. You helped the others start to forgive me and put me on the path towards learning how to forgive myself. It's not something most people would do, Mark. You really are one of us, and I'm glad that you're a member of the Literature Club. This place really wouldn't be the same without you. It wouldn't even exist without you. You're the best member of the club that I've had the privilege of knowing, and I wish you the best in all your future endeavors. Final sequence! It's your pet, the freaking headhumper! Take care, Mark. I hope you've enjoyed your stay with us. Monika and I share one last smile with each other before she grabs her stuff and disappears into the hallway. I feel a tap on my shoulder. It's not like I want to say goodbye or anything. To my surprise, I turn around to see Natsuki. It's Natsuki. At first, we both struggled to find the right words to say to each other, given our history. What history? We never interacted. We just saw each other. Like, just because she was in the same club as me. But for once, she's the first to break the ice. You know, I can't say I'm too surprised that you chose Sayori. I always did think you two went well together. I hope everything works out between you two. Thank you, Natsuki. I really appreciate it. Well, it's the least I could do. You've had quite the ride, you and me. What rides? We didn't do anything! What the fuck are you talking about, Natsuki? We didn't do anything together. Nothing. Zero. The only time I specifically interacted with you was that on the first day of the mod where you were screaming in the closet. And I went to check on you. After I had already checked on Sayori. I checked on you and then you said leave me alone. So I walked away. You called me a baka and I walked away. That is our only one-on-one interaction we've had. Nothing else. What do you mean quite the ride? That's ridiculous. It's really been nothing. That's what it has been. You know, for the longest time I wasn't sure if I could really trust you. And well, I still ended up falling for you. I don't really know why. Maybe because I thought you were funny, amazing, charming. Don't push your luck, Mark. But what I'm trying to say is, most boys wouldn't have done what you've done for me. I guess you talk about I've done for everyone, including you. So, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I know we've certainly had our ups and downs, and yeah, things could have gone better. But I really, really want to thank you for saving me back there. I'm not sure how any of us are going to get over Monika trying to kill us, but I think you set enough of an example for us to follow. I think it's the least I could do, Natsuki. I know there's more to you than your looks and the tough act you've put up. I'm glad I've gotten to know the real Natsuki. When? When? In my one encounter with her, where she dismissed any of my interactions to help her out? More or less. I'm still not sure how I feel about all this being some sort of game, but that means I don't have to worry about my dad anymore. That's true. Still, you don't have anything like Monika's... Still, you don't have anything like Monika's powers. What are you gonna do? I'll figure something out. Well, I'm not going back there again, that's for sure. Glad to hear it, Natsuki. Yeah. So, I guess I'll see you around. Of course, this club wouldn't be as entertaining without you in it. That's for damn sure. Bye, Mark. And hey, I hope you keep Sayori happy. You'll be hearing from me if you don't. No, it's Natsuki. I mean, as much as I don't dislike Natsuki, I wouldn't have it any other way, Natsuki. Natsuki smiles as she heads out into the hallway. Yuri is the next one to approach me. It's hard to believe that we're finally at the end of this saga. Yeah, I imagine everyone's feeling pretty relieved. I most certainly am. I know the others already said the same thing, but I really do want to thank everything you've done for us, especially for me. I also believe you and Sayori deserve my congratulations on your relationship. That's sweet of you, Yuri, thank you. She and I have always gotten along rather well. I must admit, I could never match her energy levels or her enthusiasm, but she always was inspirational and kind to me. She did help me get out of my shell, just a little bit. She's been a fantastic vice president. I can't think of anyone else better suited for the role. And I know you'll make her happy and continue to be the positive force in her life. Thank you, Yuri. That's very thoughtful. I must admit I do wish our relationship could have gone differently. I suspect that giving you the letter and my subsequent confession certainly didn't help things. Well, yeah, well, it would have changed my mind if I wasn't already with Sayori. If I was still unsure. If I was playing this game right after... If I was playing this right after I played the original game, I would have... I probably wouldn't have accepted Sayori's love confession in the first place, because of the very first time I played Doki Doki Literature Club, I did not accept Sayori's love confession because I still saw her as just a friend and not anything more than that. But partly because I replayed it, and partly because I played Blue Skies, Doki Doki Plus, but mostly because I played Blue Skies, I started to see Sayori more as actual relationship material. Sounds very degenerate, but like an actual person I could fall in love with if it was real. So if I had played this right after I played the original game, I would have still seen Sayori as just a friend. And when you gave me that and if you had given me that letter then, I would have fallen head over heels for you right away, Yuri, because no one has ever done that to me before. And then just receiving a fucking poem from someone which is a love confession, I would have fallen head over heels for you. It's immediately, Yuri. So the letter wasn't really the problem, it was the timing. That was the problem. I had already made up my mind that I would be with Sayori in the first time that I played this game. And then you gave me the letter, so then, yeah, it made it a bit complicated with Sayori. Mostly because my character didn't say anything about it. But, yeah, I would have fallen head over heels for you, Yuri. If you had given me the letter earlier. So yeah, the letter wasn't the problem, it was the timing that was the problem. And of course, you know, I'm not going to fucking cheat on Sayori, just, Yuri has bigger boobs, I'll go with her. You know, like, no, of course not. So, it's the timing that was the unfortunate thing here, Yuri. You're just the first one that I ever had serious feelings for. And with everything, I just didn't know how to handle that. Well, to be honest, you handled it... I wouldn't say perfectly, but again, just to imagine if this was all real, like, you know, Yuri was an actual person. If I had received a letter from someone like Yuri that I was just regular friends with, that I sort of like was interested in, and I would receive a fucking absolutely vulnerable, touching, beautiful poem or letter like that, like, I'm pretty sure I would have to first go to the hospital because my heart wouldn't take that. You know, like, yeah, like, that could melt the coldest hearts. Let's say it like that, then. Not that I have a particularly cold heart or anything, but, you know, that could melt the coldest hearts, Yuri. So I think you handled it very well, but it's just the timing didn't allow it for us. I was already with Sayori, and I already was in love with Sayori, and I'm not going to dump her just so I could be with you. Because I had already made up my mind. So the timing was off. Maybe in another time, another playthrough maybe it'll be different. I sincerely regret my actions towards you and everything else. Even Monika didn't deserve that. You're not a bad person, Yuri. I hope I helped you see that. I'll admit, I wish we all could have had the club experience without the drama, and things could have gone better between us for sure. But you're a beautiful, gracious and kind person, Yuri. You'll find someone worth your time. I believe in you. Thank you. Coming from you, it means a lot. I think we both learned a lot from this experience, wouldn't you agree? For sure. Never let Monika have administrator access ever again. I just hope going forward we'll be stronger as a club together. What? We will be stronger as a club together? What the fuck? Yeah. So, what are you going to do about, you know? I think it's finally time that I start confronting this problem rather than suppressing it. I'm not sure what the best way is. If everything is just a simulation. Are you a simulation? Is there a way I can simply just undo my problem with the click of a button? Well, if I still have administrator access, who knows? Maybe I can fix it. I can't say that I have the answer to that question, but I know you'll figure something out. I'll be right here if you need my help. I'd very much appreciate that, Mark. Yeah, yes. Even though we might not be romantically involved during this timeline, you know, I still will go great lengths to help you, Yuri. Don't worry about that. I really owe you a lot, don't I? I just did what I thought was right back there. You and everyone else are so much more than just some code. Well, we'll have much to ponder about the suppressed truth of our reality. But I must admit, this whole experience has inspired me to write my own story about this. It better be a bestseller. I haven't written a full novel before, but I'm sure I can figure it out. But perhaps one challenge at a time, right? Yeah, I think we've earned some well-deserved rest. And rest we shall. Farewell, Mark, and thank you for everything. Well, what do you mean farewell? I mean, I know the game's gonna end. This is the good ending with Sayori, you know, but, you know, technically, like, there is another day tomorrow where we come to the club, but it's just the game ends here, you know, like, I hope everything goes well between you and Sayori. Yuri says sweetly as she heads out to the door. Finally, Sayori is the last one to approach me. Though she doesn't seem overly excited or jovial, but rather a little anxious. Hey, Mark. Sayori, how are you doing? Well, I'm not sure I really know the right words for any of that. You're not surprised about our decision, are you? No, I'm just really happy. After everything, you still want to be with me? What do you mean? Of course! Of course I do! I love you, Sayori. Nothing's going to change my mind about you. I care about you, Sayori, I really do. And I think I've shown that in more ways than one recently. Yeah, I understand. I'm really glad we get to spend some time together. Yeah, I still need to beat you at Mario Kart, Sayori. You won't hold that title for long. You just know how to make me happy, don't you? It's the best job in the world. Best job ever had. Best job ever had. I do want you to promise me one thing, okay? Yeah, what is it? Get help for your depression, alright? You know I hate seeing you like that. It's for your own good that you keep going to therapy. I'm more than willing to go with you. Well, after this, I think I'll have plenty to talk about with whoever will be my therapist. But I'll do it. For you. Thank you, Sayori. There's one more thing. Yeah? Thank you so much for joining this club. It really means a lot to me that you agreed to join. It saved me, in so many ways I didn't realize at first. I know. Well, you ready to head out? You go on ahead. I'll meet you at my place later. Okay. Sayori and I exchange one last smile before she too heads out and disappears into the hallway. I sink back in the chair as Sayori leaves the club room, taking in the newfound silence. It's finally over. All the tears, all the name calling, all the temper tantrums. It's finally over. I glance at my watch and notice that it's far past the normal time I'd be heading back home. Well, even if this world isn't real, I'd feel weird hanging around in here. I pick up my stuff and begin heading out the door, but not before taking one last look at the club room. This really is no ordinary literature club, but I don't think I'd have it any other way. I turn on my heel and head out the door to start the walk home. And that's it then, huh? Hello? Oh. Oh, okay, we're not done yet.
We are not done yet. Welcome, Slayer. Is my time at an end? We are not done yet. The beast, does he seek enhanced power? Perhaps in exchange for my...
Alright. I take a seat down on my steps and take in the view of my neighborhoods. Looking up at the sky, I can see a tint of orange forming in the vast blue sea that flies high above me. Even if it's not real, I always did enjoy it. It always did instill a sense of calm and peace whenever I was troubled. And after today, those are two things I most surely need. Though going forward, for better or worse, things aren't going to be the same. Monika has a lot of work to earn everyone's trust back, but I'll do what I can to ensure she fairly earns it. After all, who knows how much time Monika has really bought us? How are we going to cross over to this world to join the person who I'm supposed to represent? Am I even real? That would be weird, but that would be pretty weird too as well, if they just like literally pop out of the fucking screen. That would be fucking weird as well though. Like they would, like, if that, like, you know, except for the fact that it's ridiculously fucking impossible, but just pretend that it is. Like, they come out of their world and they literally are alive, you know, Yuri, Sayori, whatever. But then the character comes out as well, but the character was controlled by me. So, like, do they love the character or do they love me then? You know, because that character doesn't have to listen to me anymore when they exit, so they can be whoever they want. And maybe they, you know, but they fell in love with that guy because I was controlling him. So they love him, but me through him, you know, like that would be very weird. That's also a fucking cool idea for a mod, where they come into this world and then they like hang on a minute, like that would be a fucking tough, weird situation to be in, because you love that guy, but that guy was controlled by the other guy, and then so you actually love him, but like, you know, like that would be very weird. No matter. Whatever challenges await the literature club, I'll be right there with them to face it down. Because I know one thing for sure, I care about them with all my heart. Sayori the most. She'll need us now more than ever to help her conquer her rain clouds and whatever else gets thrown her way. I know the player cares about her just as much as I do. I hope we can both care and watch over her together. Thank you, whoever you are. Oh, you're welcome. You'll always be welcome in the literature club. Hey Mark, you ready to go out? You ready to go for our date? You know it. I took Sayori's hands as we walk off towards the city to enjoy our evening together. That's the end then. Or are we also gonna go on this? Or is there also gonna be a very awkward sex scene that I have to blur out? Oh no, there we go. Different song. And once again, yeah, I can't skip any of this. Okay. Okay, so that is the good ending, but then with Sayori. Okay. Okay, Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do like it. Everything. Yeah. Sayori, yeah, Sayori. Natsuki, Natsuki. Yeah. I do like everything, but it's just a bit strange with the whole Monika realizing that. Well, yeah. Well, the fact that Monika still knows that this is all a game and tries to hamper everything and tries to force her way is a good. It's still a good story. And it still gives her an interesting experience, especially with all the Boris Johnson's playtester. I believe I laughed at that the first time I saw it too. It's still a good story, like Monika, like in the original game she couldn't make it happen, and then in this mod she's like, alright, second time lucky, more another round, no more new chances, like she goes again. And of course the realization afterwards, she's like even they may not be real, it's still like horrible to do whatever she does. So I do like the fact that they have gone for that in this story. I do like the Blue Skies approach a bit better. Just Monika is just a normal person, and then it's just a completely new story. But this is completely fine too, like it's not like this is bad or anything. But what I do find a bit confusing near the end is just the whole everybody realizes that it's a game, and then the way it ends like that, because it kind of rips away from the other stuff that has been happening earlier, if you know what I mean. Like, how best to put this in the during this route to get here, where I was with Sayori, we played Mario Kart together. We went out to dinner at some sort of Burger King together. We just hang out together. She had her rain clouds, and I tried to help her with that as much as I could. That felt like a genuine story, but because of this, the whole Monika knows it's just a game. That kind of rips it out, which that's good, that can work. But at the end, now that I have to make the choice, like, oh, do you want to be with Sayori or Monika or whatever? It does kind of feel like a bit like, now that everybody knows that it's a game, it kind of like makes those interactions we had earlier a bit less intense, or a bit less. They make me, I feel less for them, because they now also know that those interactions were just a game. But with Blue Skies, it was an actual visual. It was an actual story, a visual novel with an actual. They written the story. It went from A to B to C. But here they start the same, with the exception of Monika, of course. But it starts the same, a continuation of the week next week, after the original game. And then it continues, and then all of a sudden, just like the snap from Monika, it stops, because it is not. Everybody knows that it's a game, and it's not real anymore. And this is the same as before. And then it kind of rips it out of the experience a bit, because now also the player has to face, because the character realizes that it's being controlled by me, and yeah, I feel like it kind of ruins the experience of pretending that it isn't a game in the beginning part. I mean, that's the point, but I feel like that's a bit sad, because what they had going was pretty good as the actual story, with just like the funny interactions with Sayori, just playing Mario Kart together, playing tag, because we're just very childish, and just we have a good relationship with each other, and stuff like that. That all feels like less. All feels less. Just in general, it feels less, because now they also know that is not real. And also that ending where we go on a date together, it feels a bit less. It doesn't feel as strong, because as it did in Blue Skies. Because in Blue Skies it was a it was a story, and it was a story all the way through to the end. Because you started with, well, just take Sayori for example. You started with Sayori. We battled her depression together after we got together, and we overcame mostly her depression. And then she kept going, and I believe at the end she was like, I don't need to go to therapy as much anymore because it was okay, or sort it was getting better. That's where it ended off. But that felt more powerful because it felt like an actual story, and you are along for the ride, and then it feels like it doesn't, of course, but it feels like the story continues after you leave. It doesn't. When you quit the game, the game stops, and the writers never wrote anything after that point. But it feels like it does. It feels like after you are done there, after you quit out the game, after you got the good ending with Sayori or Yuri or whatever, it feels like the story continues. The guy, your character, goes to therapy again with Sayori, and they go less and less because Sayori's getting better and better. And like they grow old, they have they get married, they have like children, they grow old together, and then they just pass away from a heart disease or something. It continues. That's what the feeling. It's a powerful feeling because you feel like I've been along for the ride. I've made the correct choices to get this guy. To get this guy laid, to get this guy, to make action through the guy to get the girl of his dreams, and then they get a good story together, and then it continues after you leave. But they tried that here as well because it's essentially exactly the same. The ending. They go on a date together, which means life goes on after you quit the game. But it doesn't feel that powerful because they know, and everybody knows that it's a game. And, it's like the whole blabbering about the script, and it doesn't have too much time anymore, and them wanting to escape this reality and wanting to teleport them to literally beyond the screen to here, right now, where I'm sitting here in this room. That felt a bit too... what's the word for that? Yeah, I know the Dutch word for it, but it feels a bit like when those people that take it feels a bit like when you have those people that take like astrology signs like Aries and Capricorn and whatever the fuck those other ones are. People that take that way too seriously, and then you're like, when you're talking to someone and you realize that person is way too much in astrology. I believe that's the word for it. Fix me if I'm wrong in the comments below, but with like Capricorn and all those signs and stars and all that stuff. Like when people are way too much into that, and you realize that you're like, okay, but I need to back off a little bit from this person because this person is way too much. It feels a bit like that, they try, like the characters in the game, they tried a bit too hard to make it sound like they knew what was going on or whatever, like that, all the blabbering about the script running out, and it was a bit confusing to me at some point. And also them like having a desire to fucking teleport into our reality. I don't even know like how difficult that is going to be to just yeah, like that's even more difficult than what have already, like if we take have made some reference to Portal during this playthrough. If we take Portal as an example, if we take GLaDOS, the whole thing of GLaDOS is downloading the mind of a human into a computer. And because the human brain is essentially a computer, that is, even though it's pretty impossible with today's technology, even though like the technology nowadays it evolves much further, and who knows, after 10, 20 years out and you watch this video, you're like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? It's easy to download your brain in a computer chip nowadays. What are you talking about? So, who knows? But with the technology that we have right now, it's impossible. But it is not that far-fetched, the theory of doing that. Downloading a human brain into a computer so that the human can live forever. And of course, Portal plays with the fact that that all goes horribly wrong, and then, like, she loses morality and all that type of stuff. But the idea of downloading a brain into a computer is not that far-fetched, because we can imagine it a little bit. Because, the human brain is technically a computer, and, it runs with electrons, and so you can imagine something, how that is going to happen. It's kind of the same with Jurassic Park, how they explain how they got the dinosaurs back to life. Mosquito bites a dinosaur, there's blood in there, in the mosquito gets trapped, you get the mosquito back, there's blood in the mosquito, you get the dinosaur blood, you have dinosaur DNA, boom, you can use it to build something, make an embryo and go. It's impossible nowadays with what technology that we have right now, but it doesn't sound too far-fetched with the logic that is applied to it. But with what happens here, it's a bit too far-fetched in my mind, because they want to, their computer, products in a computer, their lines of code, like Monika said, they want to exit the game and live in real life. How are you going to do that? I mean, you could technically put them on a USB stick, and then they're technically out of the game, like grab their character files and put them on a USB stick. You could do that, but like, what? Like, what? Like, you can't do anything beyond that, because you need a computer program to run those characters to see them, to get them on the screen. But they want to leave the entire reality of being inside a computer and live in the real world. So first you need to reverse the portal process. Instead of downloading a human brain into a computer, you need to download a computer's brain into a human, pretty much. And then you need a body. You need a body to match their actual bodies, because otherwise it would be very weird for them if they look completely different in real life. And that is so far, just that whole part with getting a physical body, that is so far-fetched. It does not feel real, or what's it called, reachable, or like achievable. So how the hell can you support it when you know that the goal is pretty much beyond impossible to achieve? How the hell can you possibly support it with Blue Skies, and also with the story parts in this game? You can support it, So Yori's goal is to get rid of her depression. That is something that happens in real life as well. It's a journey that unfortunately many people have to go through, and you want to support Sayori on that journey. Same with Yuri. She is cutting herself as a means of self-control, and she has explained it a bit why she does it. She also does not want to do that anymore. She wants to stop it, but it's become a nasty habit, and it's become a mental illness, of course, and it's an addiction. And once again, that is a story that, again, unfortunately, many people in real life also have to go through. It's the same path that many people in real life have to walk across to reach their end goal of not harming themselves anymore. And Yuri wants to go on that path as well. So you want to support her because you know that it's possible. But when their goal is to literally leave your computer and live in the real life, it is so far-fetched, so beyond impossible. And it also is so... It feels a bit weird as well. I'm all for breaking the fourth wall. It's pretty scary when it happens, and it can be in a good way, because the original game did that very well, with Monika just talking to you. I know this is all a game. I know what your computer is called, and know that you're recording this. I know everything that's going on. That is done pretty well, because it's very creepy when Monika says that to you. But here it feels a bit, I don't know. It didn't evoke many emotions with me. I did feel that with the fact that they kind of realized Monika was the one dealing it all, dashing all their bad traits out, making Sayori depressed, making Yuri cut herself, and all that type of stuff. Where they felt all the rage and the anger for it, I did feel like that felt like what the fuck? If you actually met someone that did that to you, that's not only like I said, that's 10 times worse. Not Monika killing them, but Monika forcing them to do horrible things to themselves. That is 10 times worse. And if you meet the person responsible for that, what do you do to that? That felt very powerful. But then the whole other stuff, the blabbering about the script and so, that felt so far away from what we've been experiencing so far. it felt very disconnected, in my opinion. So I mostly enjoyed the story stuff with Sayori, and of course I did also like the Monika trying to intervene with the nightmares and the, you know, like the subtle hints that she actually knew what was going on all along during our conversations with each other. And, you know, I did like that stuff, because that is something that this mod has done. You know, that wasn't in Blue Skies at all. Monika was just a normal person in Blue Skies, but here it was, there's a normal story, but Monika is still going. She still wants her good ending, and she is doing everything in her power to get it. And that is something that is exclusive to Doki Doki Encore, and I like that. But I felt way too disconnected from that ending part, with the scripts and escaping this reality, and everything is super fragile, everything can break and crash at any moment, and that I felt that a bit disconnected from the entire journey that we went on to get there. So that's a bit of a critique. But the most important critique part is the fact that I can't escape or exit or enter. I can't get back to the menu after I get to this part. So that is my biggest point of critique so far. That you can't, that you have to Alt F4 every time you finish the game. But anyway, that is the good ending with Sayori, and also a couple bad endings. Yeah, so in the next episode I'll be starting the game again from scratch, from the beginning. And of course, we're gonna go on Yuri's right now. Of course we are. But yeah, that is because that was the stuff that I really liked, the story stuff. Yuri giving me that love confession in the form of, that was ridiculously powerful, and I like that gave me a lot of emotion. You know, that evoked a lot of stuff with me, because, you know, I was already with Sayori, and that was a trouble, because like, oh, I don't want to betray Sayori to go for Yuri. So I need to reject Yuri, but I don't want to do that in a very harsh way. I need to be polite about that, and you know you know, I know who Yuri is because I've played the other games and other mods before, so I kind of know who Yuri is, and you know how much effort it took for her to write that or give that, or how many failed attempts she has already thrown in her trash can back at her own house. You know, like that felt very powerful, but that ending, it just felt a bit bland. To quote Gordon Ramsay, taste that! What is that? What is that? It's bland, there's no seasoning, there's no salt, no pepper, it's just bland. Alright? Get out! Anyway, so, yeah. Again, don't take my critique too severe, because I am not a writer, so I do not have any knowledge of writing or anything. Well, I have experience with it because I've written stories for my Minecraft adventures, but, you know, I'm not an actual writer. So, you know, don't take my critique too severely. And of course, I also have my own preferences, so, you know. But as a point of critique as to the ending of this mod so far, to the developers, I would say seasoning. Because the ending felt bland. So some seasoning would have been appreciated. Anyway, that's it for the Sayori route. Next episode, we're starting off on the Yuri route, and we will see how that goes. So, hope everyone's enjoyed it. Click the like button if you did. Subscribe to join the Roman army, and I'll see you in the next one. See you later, Romans. Valete.